Where are all my friends? Welcome back. This is a cool episode because we have a guest who's in a slightly different industry that I haven't really talked to yet. I haven't talked to anybody in this industry yet. This is with Nick Nuk'em, who is a radio host of Apple Music's show The Plug. And he has this really cool story where he came from like journalism and radio in the early days. And we talk about all of that and we talk about all these full circle moments, how he got there. Now, I do have to apologize. I had an error with the video recording this. So the first half of his story, the video didn't record. So if you want to hear the full story, go listen to the audio. However, it kind of picked up at a really good spot where we're talking like right as him getting his job at Apple Music and Beats One and how that all progressed. So honestly, the story that you hear on video is like the abridged version of like all of the crazy highlights and all of that. So I think you'll still really enjoy this. And if you really, really loved it, go back and listen to the audio and you'll hear even more. With that said, if you do like this video, if you don't mind taking a second and just hitting the like button, amazing. I appreciate it. And also subscribing to the channel. I'm still chasing that 1,000 subscribers right now. So let's get it. I think that says it all. Enjoy and thank you for watching.
And so like they was doing super cool shit. Like Vince Staples got a show and it was called CBS, but it was, it stood for Section 8 Art House Broadcasting System. And I was like, yo, that's raw. Like that's so raw. And so I would kind of just hit her up every now and then. And one time she invited me for coffee. I'm like, hell yeah, sure, we could link up for coffee, like whatever. And so she invited me to coffee. She invited me to Beats One studio. Like, you feel me? She invited me to Beats One studio, and I was like,
is that the one like in Culver City that had like the gold staircase and all like the like proper
people? Sure. Something like that. Something like that. And so yeah, she invited me over, we chop it up. The dude that she introduced me to that time comes down, we link up. And essentially what it was like a very informal, it's like an informal interview, you know what I'm saying? And
Whoa.
so, yeah, I had no idea, I wasn't, unassuming. I was like unsuspecting or whatever. And yeah, man. So like we had coffee. She was like, yo, do me a favor. She was like, go home, write the 10 coolest stories that you could think of, like just 10 story ideas, like not even full stories, just come up with like 10 super cool story ideas that you would like to tell. And, record some stuff on your phone and then, send it back to me like, in a couple of days or whatever. So I'm like, all right, bet. So I go write some story, come with some story ideas that I think are really raw. I can't remember a lot of them at this time. Some of them were based around just like super cool recording studios. At that point, I think it was like, we were like 10 years removed from like the snap movement in Atlanta. So I was like, it would be cool to do like a retrospective of the snap movement. Just a couple stories that I thought were really dope.
Yeah, just kind of like being yourself, like just showing what you actually cared about.
Yeah. Like, as a journalist, like, yeah, these are stories that I would pitch to my editor, you feel me? So, so I did that, hit her, and I think within like a couple of weeks, I had like a job offer to be like a production assistant at Beats One. You feel me? So it's like, yo, like shit crazy.
That had to have been insane for you because like that aha moment of like everything you saw on radio and it not quite lining up, and then seeing Beats One do it and like being at Complex Con and you're like, this is the wave, this is what it should be, this is that new era, and you're like, oh.
For sure. I mean, at that point, I don't even think I had like the brains to put it all together that way, but like what I saw it as, I don't even remember what I saw it as, bro. What I saw it as, like I was working at an acai cafe, you know what I'm saying? Like, for real, bro. I was working at acai cafe, like surviving on tips, you know what I mean? Not having any money, fucking driving an old ass car. And I was like, yo, this job is going to pay me more than my acai cafe job. You feel me? Like,
that was it. You're just like, this is
like, yeah. I was like, damn, like I kind of get to do what I want to do. But, while I guess to rewind a little bit, I guess this is the craziest part about this to me. How you're talking about like, oh, this is the aha moment. The craziest part about it was to me is I had graduated from college like in June of 2016. And I told myself like, bro, you're not going to get a job straight up. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like the journalism market is tough. Like, it's hard to break in, get a staff writing job. you're doing the freelance shit, bro. You're gonna have to do the freelance shit for a little bit longer. I would send my articles to like, the big outlets, like, you know what I'm saying? The big media outlets, and like nobody was fucking with me. You know what I'm saying? Like nobody would show me any love. Like, none of the artists, none of the writers that I really, really looked up to was like offering to help. You know what I'm saying? So I was just like, yeah, bro, you're not ready. You know what I mean? Like, you're gonna have to put in like you're gonna have to grind for like a year. I told myself like at least a year, bro. You're just gonna have to like just put your head down, fucking make acai and survive off acai. You feel me? Because that's what I was doing. Like so much of my food costs got cut because I would just like eat acai. You feel me? Like trade acai bowls for Chipotle and shit. Real.
The chapter of Nick's life of just acai life. Just paying the bills and filling your stomach with acai.
Real shit. That was it. You feel me? And so it was like, yeah, that post-college grind. I told myself, like, man, you just locked in. And so I guess getting that job offer threw all those plans out of whack. You feel me? Like, I remember I had a girlfriend at the time and I felt like I had to have like a heart to heart with her. Cause like, like, I don't know, like no person wants to be with like a loser or whatever. You feel me? Like, that's just like when you think about like a long-term partner and shit, in a way, it's like nobody wants to be with a loser. So I felt like I had to like sit her down and tell her like, yo, this is gonna be my life for like you know what I'm saying? Like
you're like, oh, for the acai days, you're like, listen, right now you're gonna have to deal with acai, Nick.
Yeah,
this is not permanent.
Yeah,
but right now.
But like I was like, yeah, this is it. So it's like, the reason why I'm not gonna try to like go after, the better paying job or whatever, because I know I gotta hunker down to like do what I want to do. You feel me? So I remember like having like that was my mindset. I was just ready to sacrifice whatever I had to sacrifice. You know what I mean? Like I was like delivering Postmates to like rich people and shit like that. Like, you feel me? And you know what I mean? I was just grinding, just literally.
But it sounds like you had the right mindset. It's like, it's not like you were lying to yourself, and it's not like you were like making that miserable. You were just like, this is going to suck, but I believe in something and I'm just going to deal with it.
Yeah, I try to take like a logistical approach, I guess, a logical approach. I guess is the better word, the logical approach, and just say like, yeah, like, I'm not gonna fucking hit a home run, and I'm not gonna hit the lotto or whatever. Like, this was just what it's gonna take. So when I got the job offer, it threw all those plans off track. Like, you know what I mean? And I was like,
oh shit.
Yeah. And then it was great. Like, I was single by the time I got the job offer. You feel me?
She doesn't even know.
Yeah, so it's kind of crazy, kind of how that worked out. You feel me? But yeah, so it just threw all my plans off track, and then I entered like a new chapter of my life, which led to me, grinding at Beats One for a minute. You know what I mean? And yeah, like becoming a radio host some weird way.
You did it.
Like, yeah, like it's crazy, right? Like it's so crazy how the path that I had to take, to get there, and like not even thinking that I would get there, and still ended up back there. It's like weird as hell, but it's also dope as fuck too. You know what I mean? Like, shit crazy.
Dude, that's everything to me. And it's like, it's so fucking cool. Like, you're talking about going all the way back to being a kid, hearing those first stations on air, being like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah.
And you fucking did it. It wasn't crazy. The path you thought, but like all these things happen and here you are. And it like almost happened in the best way.
Yeah,
because it sounds like such a genuine, authentic connection of like ComplexCon. Like, you're at an event you love, you're there for music you love, you have a conversation with somebody where you're just being real. Yeah. They come in, invite you for coffee, and you're just like, yeah, cool, whatever. And then like through all of that, it leads to them just being like, yeah, cool. Like, he's in this for the right reasons. And now here you are.
For sure.
Dude,
yeah, that was my long-winded way.
Fucking cool.
Yeah,
that's the podcast, though. That's what I like. That's the whole point is I love hearing the long-winded stories of this. And like, there's so many parts in that story as you were telling it where I'm just like, damn it, that's cool. Like, it feels like throughout your entire path, you always were passionate about music. Like, it was never you trying to do it for like clout or like cred. Like, it was just like, you loved those shows. Like, you were going to those shows, you were listening to that music, you were trying to find stuff early because you loved it.
Yeah.
And then like getting there, and it just like, the acai days where you were just like, yeah, cool, like it is what it is.
I love how you framed it, the acai days.
The
But yeah,
acai days.
real deal. Real
Oh
deal.
man,
Yeah.
dude. So then, what year was that you started with Beats One?
The beginning of 2017.
Wow,
Yeah.
wow, and
So
you've
here
been
we
there
are.
since.
Yeah, ever since, you know.
But it has continued to progress and get even cooler, right? Because again, like your show is only a couple months old.
For sure.
And I know that some of it, like you can't really go too in depth, and respect to that. But did you like what was your position before you had your own show?
I started off as a production assistant there, and that was like helping you produce shows, you know what I'm saying? Gathering prep, you know what I mean? Making sure the host had everything they needed to present, you know, as dope of a show as possible. You know what I mean? Kind of try to editorialize and, you know, make sure that they didn't say the same shit every day or, you know, had the same delivery style or, you know what I mean? Just like try to keep it fresh and, you know, help tell new stories, which is where kind of, I guess, like my journalism background kind of came into play a little bit, right? So it's like that training kind of helped. And
Yeah.
so that's how I started off. And then that kind of just like ended up as, you know, when you get there too, like a motherfucker asks you, you know, if you want to take on a new responsibility, like you say, yeah, you feel me? Like, yeah, you know what I mean?
And
Like, you're
like with that, like was that just inherent? Like you just knew, like, I don't want to say how to play the game, but like you knew you were at a great company and you knew just like say yes, keep your head down, do the work kind
for
of vibe.
sure. For sure. It was like, you know, I don't know if I would have known anyway, but yeah, like I remember my uncle, like when I was a kid, he was like, when I was a teenager, he was like, dog, like if you get a job, he was like, just be a sponge. You feel me? Like that was like, he'll always tell me that shit. This is before I ever had any type of job. Like, you know, he just like, whatever you do, just be a sponge. You feel me? Just be a sponge, be a sponge. So it's like when motherfuckers ask you, can you do this? Do you want to do this? You just say, yeah, if you soak up as much knowledge and, you know, soak up as much as you possibly can. You feel me? So I was like, you know, I don't know, maybe that just became common sense to me, but it was like, yo, can you do this? Can you, you know, you want to learn how to do this? You want to learn how to, I'm like, yeah, hell yeah. Like, you know, give me all that shit. You feel me? So at one point, you know, I was just like pretty well versed in the things that I knew how to do, you know what I'm saying, within Beach One. And so yeah, bro, like it's kind of crazy. You know, I was doing a bunch of different things at one point. And yeah, man. Just I don't know what your original question was, but yeah,
Well, I guess like I was just trying to paint the picture of your progression there. So
yeah,
starting as a production assistant, saying yes
yeah,
to everything,
yeah,
understanding the actual culture, probably caring about the things you were doing.
yeah. That's a big part of it.
And then was it production assistant straight into you now having the show? Was there any other transition or?
Um, in a way, it was production assistant to that, but it was like working on different shows. You know what I mean? Working on different shows, and then like so, kind of going back to me, kind of being like you know outgoing, you know, energetic, argumentative, like you know what I mean? Like that shit kind of end up paying off for me here, right? And because like me and my co-host now, Eddie, you know, we didn't have a super tight relationship at first, but I don't know what eventually broke. I think maybe we started sitting, I don't know what happened, but we used to start having conversations. You know what I mean? We would start having like, you know, like loud conversations about rap and shit. You know what I mean? It's just like about whatever, whether we agree or disagree. And, you know, we start putting lists together. You know, we just had like, we just had a dynamic where, you know what I mean? Like, I'm outgoing and like energetic, and like Eddie is too. Eddie's loud, you feel me? So it's like we would have these conversations that would just get really loud, and like other people couldn't help but like join into the conversations or like give their advice on the conversations. You know what I mean? And just like chime in, yo,
Yeah.
top 10 rappers, top 10 producers, you know, this Kanye West album, that, this Kendrick Lamar album, that, you know, even if it came to sports, you know. So me and Eddie just built this dynamic of just like talking shit, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know, just being ourselves, you know what I mean? And so we just had like chemistry that worked really well. And we started recording like very small, just like for no reason. Actually, somebody else got assigned to go record little tidbits for like segments or whatever, somebody else. And then one day somebody was like, man, y'all go record some segments, like you and Eddie. So it was like, all right, cool. And then we start recording. The first shit we ever recorded was Drake was getting ready to drop Scorpion.
Okay.
So this is 2018.
Yeah.
Yeah.
18.
So Drake was getting ready to drop Scorpion, and we just jumped in the studio and start talking about Drake. You know what I mean? We just jumped in. Like we start talking, I don't know, whatever. You know, it's like, yo, Drake's getting ready to come out with an album. Like, this is the fire shit. Like, this is the Drake I want. This is the Drake I want. You know, this is what Drake fans need. Like, you know what I'm saying? This is what Drake gotta do, blah, blah, blah. And eventually that shit made it up to like upper management. Not, I don't know. Upper management at Apple is like, I don't know, fucking, you know what I'm saying, big dogs or whatever. But it made it to our Beats Ones, like, you know what I mean, like upper management. They was like, yo, this shit is cool. So they kind of would like run little segments of us talking about Drake for the lead up to that album. So
Oh,
then,
cool.
yeah, so then that happened. And then I think like Migos was getting ready to drop an album. So then we did like a Migos version of that shit. You know what I mean? And then we kind of became the guys to talk about hip hop albums and promos before they came out on air or whatever. And a couple months after that, Eddie got a new show. Like Eddie's a radio host, like by trade, you feel me? So like when working at Beats One the whole time, he was like a radio host. So he got a gig to host a new show at the beginning of 2019 called Hip Hop Chart. And he was the host and I was going to produce him. You feel me? I was just going to produce the show, right? I don't know if they didn't like trust me on air, or I don't know if they didn't want to pay me as a on air. I don't know.
However it played out, you were producing it.
But I was producing it. But at the same time, like I was co-hosting the show. You know what I mean? Like I was the producer, but I was also like chiming in on like damn near every break. Like, you feel me? Like it wasn't no issue. You feel me? It was just like our dynamic. You know what I mean? So we did that for a minute, and Hip Hop Chart went on for here. You know, Beats One rebranded. It no longer exists. It's just Apple Music. It's just, you know, everything's Apple Music now. So, you know, we underwent a rebrand. And yeah, man, we started having conversations about, you know, coming up with a new show and my role being elevated to, you know, just being an actual host and like putting my face on the artwork as well. You feel me? Put my name on the artwork and put me inside the app. And so, yeah, man, we made it official. You feel me? And here, you know, I guess here we are. You for me? Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, man, the shit is kind of crazy,
dude. That is very crazy, but in the best fucking way. Like it's, I don't know. I get like real hype on exactly that. Of it's not easy to follow that early dream and to be like, here's this non-traditional thing that I want to do. I mean, don't get me wrong. You went to school for it and you knew for a long time and you set yourself up for it. But like, damn it, it's nice to talk to somebody that's like, this is what I was trying to do and I'm doing it. Like,
it's the craziest shit, bro.
God, that's nice.
But I feel fortunate for a lot of reasons, but also because I felt like I knew what I wanted to do early.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Some people graduate college and don't know what they want to do. Some people get out of high school and don't know what they want to do. You feel me? Some people, they got to kind of figure it out. But, you know, I kind of had like a plan. You know, I kind of had something to like, I guess like anchor me the whole time, right? Where if shit ever got like too far out of hand, or you know what I mean? If I felt like I was in like the middle of the tornado, you know what I mean? That I could be like, oh, at least I know where I want to go. You know, once this tornado is over, you know, my house could be destroyed, but at least I know, you know, kind of like where home is. And you know what I mean? So I feel super fortunate to like have that. You know what I mean? And not be scrambling around too much trying to make something make sense. You know what I mean?
Now, do you think though, because I think about this exact thing quite often, do you think that more people in the world actually do have that, but it's just like really scary to actually admit that that's the dream and you want to chase it because it's harder? Like, do you think that you could have given up, like, you know, because you got fired from that first radio station, like that could have been your time where you could be like, I'm not cut out for this. So do you think that you say you're lucky that you knew, but do you think that having strong will and determination is part of that? Because couldn't you have just given that up as well?
Well, in a way, I did give up radio, you know?
Right. Like you kind of went to the journalism side.
Yeah. I guess I stayed around. I guess I was lucky that music is a big enough place where, you know what I mean, I could find a different way in. And even like media is a big enough place where it's like, okay, shit, well, you know, journalism is still media. You feel me? So it's like, I could still be in this lane without doing that exact thing. But I think the reason why people don't pursue the dreams that they have, I guess when they're young or when they get informed about what they want to do, is like people discourage them from doing it. You feel me? Because the shit like might not make enough money, or they might, people get pressured to be like doctors and lawyers and what I'm saying, all kind of crazy shit, and which is cool. Like as a parent, it's got to be a weird place for you. If your kid wants to be like, I don't know, man. Like I don't know.
I mean, dude, in this day and age, if your kid wants to be like a YouTuber or a professional gamer or an anything,
we've proven that you could get rich off that shit, even though it's still hard.
That's true.
But I mean, no parent still get no parent is like when fucking Lil Johnny is born, they don't want Lil Johnny like, yo, he's gonna be a YouTuber one day. But I guess like say your kid was just like super passionate about, I don't know, like garbage for whatever reason, like being a garbage man. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, like my kid, he wants to be a garbage man. He loves the process of truck coming every week and picking the bins up and shit. Like, right? Like they would probably discourage their kid from being a garbage man. Like, you feel me? Like, I don't know.
Right. And that's out of love. Like, that's not trying to like squash dreams. It's just like,
But that's what Lil Johnny wants to do. You feel me? And so like, what's the cost of Lil Johnny going on to be like an attorney, you know what I mean, that he maybe never really wanted to become or whatever, you feel me? So, the parents would probably just be, and I think I saw like Iman Shumpert talking about this, it's like if a kid shows interest in something, then like you go let them do it, you feel me? And you let them do it. And I think like studies show that like, people that like their jobs more end up becoming more successful in their jobs. So like Lil Johnny might fuck around and revolutionize the trash industry. Like,
that's
you feel
true.
me?
That's facts. Yeah.
Like that's, I don't know. So I think
honestly, that's a sick example. Like taking something literally saying garbage, not taking YouTuber, because that has been proven, but like taking garbage. It's like from afar, if you don't like, who would be like, yeah, I'm passionate about garbage. But if somebody is, and it's so out there to nurture that, because like they might revolutionize something. They might come up with something that fixes a huge problem or like whatever that is. So I agree with you.
Yeah. So I think, that's one thing that we should, I don't know. I think that's one thing we should kind of fix or, reinforce like with our kids, with our generation. Is just like, if our kid shows like interest in that shit, like, I don't know, I guess you gotta let them, let them pursue it. You know what I mean? But, I guess you can explain backup plans to them, but like whatever. Like I don't even know if that's a good idea either. But like,
fuck backup plans. Explain the acai days. Say, listen, you might love this, and if you really do, you're down to live off acai for an indefinite amount of time.
Yeah, for sure.
And if you're down for that, go chase it.
Yeah, see it through. You know what I mean?
Were your parents pretty supportive?
Yeah, so like my dad passed away when I was young, but like even before he passed away, like he was, I guess I'd never had a chance to really like know him well enough to ask these questions. But like as I get older, I start to realize that like we had internet in my house like pretty early, I think, compared to a lot of other people. Like late 90s. I think by like 97, 98, we had internet in the crib. And what I'm learning is that like people maybe didn't have internet. Maybe it took people like a couple years still, maybe just like 2 or 3 or something like that. And so that was because of my dad, you feel me? And just like having a computer in the crib. You know what I mean? So it'd be little shit like that. And I remember, I'll never forget, like, I don't even know how much, I guess my dad knew that my interest was music. And he was just like, yo, what's crazy is this is like 2002, he'd tell me, 2001, he was like, yo, what's crazy is like music software is going to be like the future. Like, you feel me? He used to be like, yo, music software is going to be like the shit. He was like, all this stuff that we could do right now, like this is going to be happening on computers, And like, I mean, it's not that I ignored him, but, I couldn't see the vision. I was like fucking 10 or 11 years old or whatever.
Yeah, but, like you were just like, that's dad talk. You're just like, okay, cool, dad.
Yeah, I was like, oh, that, like, yeah, cool. But I couldn't comprehend what that meant. Like, I didn't even know what fucking software meant at that time, But he was just like, yeah, he was like, everything that people do, you're gonna be able to do it on computers, and everything that you see. So I was like, yeah, that's kind of crazy. So, in a way,
dude.
Yeah, so in a way, he was like a bit of a, I don't know if even futurist is the word, but he was just like a little bit, technologically advanced compared, on average at least. You know what I mean? Like,
Right. And then him
so,
predisposing you to that is huge.
yeah, yeah. So in terms of being supportive, yeah, like I'll never forget, like also just sitting me around music. Like we had hella music in the crib growing up and shit like that. And it was never like pushed on me, but there was just like CDs everywhere, like CD cases everywhere. Fucking, you know what I mean? So it was all around me for if I wanted to choose it, it was there for me, whatever. So in that way, my dad was super supportive. And, what my mom did, like my mom never discouraged me. She never, you know what I mean? Like it wasn't even so much support to the point where she kind of like, I feel like she trusted me to like figure it out. Like you feel me? Like she never once told me, maybe you should do this or maybe you should do, you know what I'm saying? She kind of like let me take the dream and like run with it. You feel me? And I know like,
Fuck, that's cool.
and I know there's point like, like acai days, you feel me? Like I was asking her for money and shit for rent. You feel me? Like, it's like at that point I was a grown man, you feel me? But I was just broke as fuck. You feel me? And
Yeah.
asking to borrow bread and like, getting fucking parking tickets sent to her house. She's like, yo, like, what the fuck, bro? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah. But she was
get,
there for you. She helped
yeah, yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah, for sure. You know what I'm saying? As much as she could. So like, yeah, you can talk about like that type of support. Like, yeah, like it's, you know what I'm saying?
That's
You
so
can't count.
awesome.
Yeah. So, but
I
yeah,
think
so
that's
yeah, in
all
that
so
point,
important. Like, that's so
yeah,
fucking cool. Like, cause
yeah,
again, like, it's just sick that like that was your dream and it wasn't pushed away from you, right? Like you had a
right.
dad that embraced the future and that gave you as much technology as possible. You had a mom that was there for you in the hardest times. You had an uncle that
Yeah,
was teaching you good lessons. Like
yeah,
that setup, I think that's cool. And I really do wonder, like, your strong character, a supportive family, finding that early and believing in that, like, here you are now. But I think that there's
yeah,
a cool lesson there of like, thank God that all of those things lined up because you're doing what
yeah,
you're supposed to be doing. And it just makes me wonder how many people might not be if they didn't
yeah,
have that strong will and that determination.
for
And it's
sure.
just like, it's
In the
fucking cool.
circumstances,
Yeah, it's just cool to see it come together. It's cool to see the story play out the way it should.
for sure, for sure. And shout out to the streets too. You feel me? Shout out, like for real, like you know what I mean. Just like invaluable lessons from just running around. You know what I mean?
I think that's true as well. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
you experienced college, but you also just
yeah,
experienced life. And if you don't
yeah,
have that life experience, what the fuck are you
yeah,
going to do?
yeah. Should have smacked you in the mouth. You feel me? For real.
Yeah. I have 3 fake teeth from actually getting hit in the mouth.
Really? Like intentionally?
I mean, just some random street fight.
Oh, that's fire.
Yeah, I guess it
That's
sucked, but
fire.
yeah.
Yeah, it sucks, but yeah, shit lessons, bro, right? Like, yeah, I mean, I don't know,
Actually,
like, yeah, like, I guess like being gritty, right? I've been reading like a bunch of little bullshit Forbes articles and they talk about like grit and how much that shit can help you, whatever. It's like, I don't know, you can't just be like a can't just be like a puddle of dough. Some people are naturally born, just being tough and like knowing how to stand up for themselves. And you know what I'm saying? Some people just have that naturally and shit. I didn't have that naturally. I had to get beat
really?
up. Yeah, I had to get beat up by kids. And like I had to like, you know what I'm saying? Like and do shit that I wasn't supposed to be doing. Like you feel me? And like be put in certain situations. Like, so I'm grateful for that too. That's like like you feel me? Like that is
Yeah.
important. You know what I mean? It's
Dude,
important to get
yeah.
those lessons. Yeah.
I think about that as well. And like, I think LA is a great example because if you look at LA on paper, how the fuck are you supposed to survive and succeed?
Yeah.
Everything's too expensive. There's not enough room for anything. There's a
Yeah.
billion people that are the best in the world that are competing for what you're doing. Like,
For
what the
sure.
fuck is this mess of like this challenge? It's expert
Yeah.
mode on the fullest.
Yeah, for
But if
sure.
you get beat up and if you understand it and you kind of have to learn a finesse, you have to learn
Yeah.
how to like
Yeah.
break the right rules and like do
Exactly.
things. Yeah.
No, you're
Dude.
right. Ideally, you get beat up in your hometown before you move from like fucking Pine Bluff, Arkansas to LA to try
Hmm.
to be a star. And if
That
and
is
if you
ideal.
and if you never got hit in the mouth before that, like LA, any big city, anything, you feel me? It's just like it'll just fuck you up. So, hopefully you take your scratches and your bumps and bruises where you are beforehand. So you got a little bit of, street smarts, and you said like a little bit of finesse, you know what I mean? Just like, I don't have finesse, you feel me? But like, there's other lessons, you feel me? So hopefully you learn that shit at home. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
it
that
becomes
would be the
like,
advice.
yeah, it becomes that like tool belt, like all of those things, all those lessons. Then you get put in the real life situations, and you're like, oh
For
shit, I can
sure.
do this.
So you're not like walking down Hollywood Boulevard one day and then some fucking super shady ass dude is like, "Hey, bro, you wanna, who the fuck knows, make
Who the
up
fuck knows?
$200 today?" And you're like, "Yeah, I would love to make $200." He's like, "All right, follow me." Blah blah blah. You
God,
got a car? Yeah, I got a car. All right, cool. Take me to this spot, and you be in some bullshit, And
dude,
so, like, hopefully
too
you
real.
learn those lessons. Yeah, you feel me? So it's like, hopefully you kind of get those lessons and, be able to suss out, shady characters and weird folks
Yeah,
before it happens on the main stage,
I fucking love that. I
Yeah,
think we did the thing, dude. This was so
for sure.
fucking cool. Like, again, I kind of had a feeling. I was like, yeah, like I think your story is rad. Like, you were good people when we met and hung out in
For sure.
person.
For
But
sure.
like, I didn't know it ran this deep, and like just hearing all the full circle moments and all that is
Yeah.
everything to me. Where can everybody find you?
I'm on Instagram at Nick Nukem, NickNukem, and I'm on
Yep.
Twitter at Nukem Nick, just because somebody got the fucking handle that I want. And
Damn it.
Twitter, I don't know if Twitter will give it to me. I don't know, but I don't know. Yeah, that's where I'm at.
Dope. And then where can everyone hear the show?
Yeah, listen to the Plug Radio, man. On Apple Music, bro. We release episodes every other week right now. Sometimes like we recently just did a strictly LA episode, you know what I mean, that you can find on demand. So it's like, all of my favorite artists from the city and from, pretty Southern Cal, IE. So that's just living on Apple Music, man. Check us out.
I love it. I love it. Dude, thank you for your time. This was fucking cool.
Yeah, this is dope, bro. This is super dope.